Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name's Monica, and in today's video I'm going to go over my November TBR. So in the month of November I read 35 books, and out of those 35 books I had 8 5 stars, 5 4.5 stars, 15 4 stars, 2 3.5 stars, 2 3 stars, 1 I did not rate because it was going to be lower than a 3-star, and then 2 rereads. And I actually did really well with the audiobook versus ebook thing. No physical books, but I did listen to 29 audiobooks and read 6 ebooks, so that's pretty good. And then for subgenre and genre breakdown, I read 3 historical romances, 1 paranormal romance, 22 contemporary romances. I read 8 romantic suspenses, and I read 1 nonfiction, which was a memoir. So let's get into my favorites list. So at the beginning of November, I got the ALC of Broken Harbor, and this one is a romantic suspense, and our hero is a hockey star. His name's Cope. He has an enemy who is moving in the shadows to discredit him, like someone wants him to have problems, right? They want to get back at him. Sutton is a single mom and a baker. She has a 7-year-old son named Luka who wants to become a hockey player. Her ex-husband is connected with the Russian mafia, the Bratva. Anyhow, we see their inner struggles as they try to work through their inner struggles, as well as the plot unfolds, specifically who is doing specific things to people that Cope knows, and is it her ex who is complete and utter trash. So there's humor in this book. I didn't realize there was going to be humor in this book, which I loved. I also love the found family feels. It's just like Lolly, the grandmother, is so exceptionally funny. Like everything is about sex and pot with her, which my mom's a hippie, so I get that. Anyway, Cope is a protective hero. The caretaking in the scene is phenomenal when she and her boy gets sick with the stomach flu, and when he gets hurt, I love it. Like this, there were so many quiet moments between Sutton and Cope, which felt genuine and beautiful, and the bond that develops between our hero and heroine is heartwarming. I just loved everything about this book. The small town feels is there, it's cozy, and the characters are flawed, well developed, and sympathetic. The suspense plot is engaging and surprising in the best ways, and the romance is just sweet with just enough spice. Love this. I listened to the audiobook, and this was, the narrators were Aaron Mallon and Connor Crayas, and they brought heart and depth to this book that Catherine Cowles wrote beautifully. I loved it. I gave 5 stars. I think this is one of my favorites in the series. I love this book. And then I read P.S. You're Intolerable. This one, okay, this is in her The Harder They Fall series. And I've been putting this one off because I knew I was going to love it. And so I put it off when I wasn't feeling the best reading-wise and mentally. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and read it now. And I'm so glad I did. This is such a sweet romance. The story is a single mom and her grumpy boss. She is pregnant with another man's baby. And the way Elliot and Kit pined for each other was fantastic. And the way he took care of her and her daughter after she had this house that was a fixer-upper, because the baby daddy took off and basically abandoned her, stole her money, abandoned her with this house that's close to being condemnable. She was left without money and pregnant. And she went to work for Elliot, who is he has to have things like a certain way where he's very routine oriented. So it was just so well done. I loved the plot. I loved the characters. I loved the romance. And I can see why everybody loved this book so much. And then I decided to go ahead and read Keep Her Safe by QB Tyler. This one is a angsty, erotic romantic suspense where Shay is an actress who has wanted her bodyguard Damien since he started to work with her. This is more like a soulmates and the spice level. Well, I mean, it's QB Tyler, you know there's going to be good spice in this. So this suspense plot because somebody is trying to go after her. She has a stalker who really, really wants her. And you don't really know who it is. And it was well done. QB Tyler really, and I'm very picky about my suspense plots. So if the suspense plot was equal to the romance, I have to give it props. It was here. It was great. Loved it. Damien was such a great protective hero. He would have done anything to keep her safe from the guy who had nefarious plans for her. Like, this book is fantastic. QB Tyler definitely outdid herself, and I highly recommend this one. And then the day that it came out, I read The Mirror. This is book 2 in the Lost Bride trilogy by Nora Roberts. This picked off right where The Mirror left off, and this is a paranormal haunted house with definitely a suspense plot element to it. We had Clover who came back. She is the ghost who could communicate through music, which I love Clover. And then Sonia is our heroine. She's very, very strong, and there were scenes where you could actually see her grow as a character. In this, Dre is our hero. He is protective over her, but he lets her fail. Like, he's not trying to swoop in to save the day all the time. And even when he wants to, he doesn't do that, which I really like. The friendship between her friend Cleo and her cousin Owen, it was just like a found family feeling. I loved it. And of course, it ended on a cliffhanger, which means I have to wait another year for the ending of the book. But for the second book, it did well, and I have to give it props, and so I gave 5 stars. So another 5-star that I read was Variation by Rebecca Yarros. I love her contemporary romances. This one is Allie and Hudson. They loved each other from afar for 11 years because they thought their time together was over, but it wasn't. Allie ended up being injured. She snapped her Achilles tendon and had to go back to Cape Cod for rehab. Hudson, he's a rescue diver for the Coast Guard, and he's there to help his sister Caroline to raise her daughter. Her daughter, Juniper, really wants to be a ballerina, but Caroline is saying, absolutely not, you cannot do this. We know that Juniper is adopted. She thinks that Allie was her biological mother, which Allie was like, that was not me. It couldn't possibly be me. There was a lot of angst in this book. Hudson and Allie could not stay away from each other. They never stopped loving each other, even for over 11 years. There was a lot of twists and turns, especially around the last 30% of the book. This including the secondary characters who spilled all their secrets about what happened. This book is basically like everybody is doing the wrong thing for the right reason, except for maybe one character who did the wrong thing for the wrong reason because he's an asshole. But we're not going to talk about that dude. Anyhow, the first 70% of the book was really about the plot unfolding and the characters, specifically Allie and Hudson, relearning each other and learning that neither of them forgot each other, as well as helping Juniper get her dream of becoming a ballerina. I really enjoyed this one. We saw a lot of ballet, Allie doing ballet and teaching ballet, as well as Hudson being a Coast Guard rescue diver and seeing what he does on a day-to-day basis, but not in a way that was boring. I felt like each character had something that was very sympathetic about them. I felt like each of them had, well, except for maybe one character, all had redeemable qualities to them. This was very character driven, more so than plot, but there was definitely really, really good plot to it. The romance was spicy. It was a very strong romance. I was waiting up to like the last 10% of the book for Allie to get her head out of her ass. She had to make the final move. She had to be the one to do the grand gesture. And I enjoyed it. There was drama, there was a lot of angst, and it really did not take a break until the epilogue. So if you like angst and drama in sexy Coast Guard and rescue drivers and ballerinas, you will, with a lot of secrets, you'll love this one. This one's great. So my one non-romance book that I did read, and ended up giving it a 5-star, was A Memoirs by Lisa Marie Presley, and it was finished by her daughter Riley Keough. That's From Here to the Great Unknown. It's about Lisa Marie Presley's life being Elvis Presley's daughter, and then how people were using her because she was Elvis Presley's daughter, and some of the stuff that her mom put her through. I'm just like, and then about drug addiction later on in life. This one was very sad. There was a lot of loss in her life, but she also had a lot of love from her kids and from her partners. And there were some interesting facts that came out about Michael Jackson, about all these other people that we hear about, but we don't really know because they're famous. And generally I don't care about famous people, but I wanted to read this one because I grew up listening to Elvis because of my parents. I was always curious about what she had to say about her life. If you're going to read this one, you need to do the audiobook. And the reason why I'm saying you do the audiobook is because there's audio recordings that Lisa Marie Presley did before she passed away. The parts where Riley Keough, who wrote the interpretations of what her mom was trying to say, as well as what happened at the end of Lisa Marie Presley's life. It was heartbreaking. And the grief of losing her father and then her son unalived himself in 2020, so be aware of that, and how she never really truly got over those deep losses. And it was really well done. I highly recommend the audiobook if you're gonna get into this one, but it is heavy, so be aware of that. And then I read Once Upon a Christmas Tree. I got the ALC for this, and I was thoroughly enjoying this whole thing. It's narrated by Shane East and CJ Bloom. It's fantastic. I loved Alexander, who is our grumpy hero. He is from England. He's part of the aristocracy. His brother, I think, is going to be a duke or something, or is a duke or something. Anyway, his brother finds out that his fiance is cheating on him, and so Alexander and his two younger brothers pack him up and they fly on their private jet to Aspen, Colorado, and that's where he meets Haven. And Haven is struggling to make ends meet because she had to pay her parents' medical bills after her parents passed away. They just have such great chemistry. This book was a vacation romance where they did not want to leave each other, but at the end, he left her. So here's the thing. This does not have a happy for now, and it doesn't have a happily ever after. It left us hanging. I was like, because the epilogue was introducing Alexander's brother, because he's going to get the first book. I was like, I had written my review before the very end. If I had known that, I might not have given it 5 stars, but I'm lazy enough, and the characters were well developed. He executed describing the setting in such great detail that I could see it in my head. I enjoyed the longing and the pining between the Haven and Alexander, that I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to leave it, because I have a feeling something is going to happen. And honestly, I was scrolling through my Instagram today, and come to find out, the first book is called Valentine Nook, because this is a prequel to the whole series, right? The series, I don't even know what it's called. It's the Valentine Nook Chronicles. That's what she's calling it. So Valentine Nook is the brothers who he needs to have his AGA, right? Because we got introduced to the brother and who he's going to be with in his book, and that's called Valentine Nook. That's book 1. Book 2 is Wilder Ranch. This will be Alexander's or Alex and Haven's final AGA. They're going to get an AGA, so I'm glad I left it at 5 stars. She said it will be worth it, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna trust you. It's gonna be worth it. This is what she said. The first 2 books of the Valentine Nook Chronicles are up for pre-order. Yes, you have to wait a year for Haven and Alex's final HEA, but I promise it'll be so good and worth it. I've done this because I want you to see how much I love these characters, how big a part of me they are and how much I plan for them. She said that the first book, which is the brother's book, will be Grumpy Sunshine. She's on a break from Hollywood and hiding in England, Notting Hill vibes, which that sold me. Touch Her and Die, and Landlord Tenant. So the second book, which is Alex and Haven's book, which I gave 5 stars, which was Once Upon a Christmas Tree. That's who the main love interests were. The hero and a heroine in this one was. Their tropes are accidental pregnancy. Like, I mean, it's me. Sign me up for that. It's going to be a Christmas romance. Girl dad. They help each other with business. Second chance. Never forgot her. Like, seriously, that I'll eat all that up any day of the week. So I am glad I kept the 5 stars on that because I am so excited for that one. Now the last one that I want to talk about, and this is my favorite on all the favorites, okay? So the one that got me the most, that I loved, was Darkest Sins by Neva Altaj. This is book 9 in her Perfectly Imperfect series. This one is just so good. So Kai and Nira. Kai is the demon, and Nira is his little cub. He calls her little cub. He is a psychopathic hitman who found Nira, who's a mafia princess, when he needed medical help. She was working as a vet tech, and he needed to be stitched up, and she's like, okay, I will do this for you. He didn't know she was part of the mafia, right? Not a clue. He's not very learned. He had a rough childhood where he was trained to be an assassin, and he's very good at it. He doesn't connect with people, but he connected with Nira, our heroine, on a deep fundamental level. This is opposites attract. He became so obsessed with her, he started stalking her, and she was okay with it. They both needed to do what they had to do to survive. There is a time jump with secrets, but no lies, because they always said, we have secrets, but no lies between each other. And the romance was well-paced and it was hot. The plot was very interesting. There was well-placed humor in it. And you did have mafia violence on page. Nira ends up becoming a mafia don to save herself. After Kai just sort of leaves. She doesn't even know his name. She calls him Demon. And it's just so well done. I loved every minute of this book. The character development was perfect. The pacing was perfect. The romance was perfect. He wanted her, and he's like, I can't have you, but if I'm going to have you, I'm going to keep you, which means I'm not going to marry you. I'm just going to keep you no matter what. And it was just so well done. There was one part which I loved. He's illiterate. He can barely read. So she started teaching him how to read by reading a vet book to him. I was like, oh. So anyway, those are the books that I read in the month of November that I gave 5 stars, that I really enjoyed. Let me know if we have any in comment down below. And if you made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you're here, please leave me a present emoji, because sometimes a 5-star can be a great present. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.